This is the Real Estate Investing Abundance Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. I know you're excited to get into today's show, but I have a very exciting announcement to share with you before moving to the show. We've just launched a complimentary and comprehensive webinar that, among other things, shows you how to legally use passive real estate investing to reduce your taxes, recession-proof your nest egg, and take the sting out of inflation. If you are curious to learn more, go to stevetucker.com/webinar. It is complimentary and only takes a couple of minutes of your time. Once again, that is stevetucker.com/webinar. I'll see you in the webinar. Enjoy today's show. Enlightened investors, this is your Real Estate Investing Abundance Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. Thank you for joining us today. I am so delighted that you are with us. We are going to take a look today at how we can live a life by design through passive multifamily real estate investing with that salsa investor. With us today is Giang Nguyen, and she is a seasoned multifamily investor and syndicator. She achieved financial freedom through real estate investing at the age of 31. Giang founded One River Capital to provide people with real estate investment opportunities and passive investing education. Welcome to the show, Giang, and take us into the show and share with us a memorable experience that may have helped you to be who you are today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to share with you all my stories and what I've learned so far in this real estate journey. I'm going to share with you guys one experience that I have that actually directly tied to, what we're talking about today, building passive income through real estate. So before I became a full-time real estate investor, I was actually a scientist. I was working on generating gene therapy for a blood disorder called hemophilia A. And I was working as a scientist for almost 10 years. And so one of the experience I had that changed my completely trajectory of life was that I came over to the US from Vietnam. And then at that point, while I was working as a scientist, my dad was in Vietnam and he got quite sick back home. And so there I was, sitting at work. I thought I picked the right path, and I thought, I had a great career. I had flexibility at my job. I was earning a salary that fully support my lifestyle. So I thought I was doing everything right up to that point. And when I heard the news that my dad was sick and, I am essentially across the world and couldn't quite have that flexibility from my job to fly back home and be with my dad for months that I needed, that I would want to be. That was kind of a wake-up call for me to really learn that it didn't matter, whether I had a very prestigious career, whether a very high-paying career, until I build that passive income that fully replace my W-2 and fully support my lifestyle, I will never truly have that freedom, that time freedom that I needed in that moment. So from there, my whole trajectory changed. I focus a lot more on real estate and really focus on cash flowing multifamily, with the main goal to replace my income so that I could have that time freedom. I could call the shots on how I want to spend my time, that if anything were to happen, I could fly across the world and be with my dad. So yeah, I would say that was very life-changing for me to learn at that moment about how important passive income is.
Well, great story, great example there. Well, my first question, you've already answered a portion of that, and that is, what is the benefit of passive multifamily investing? Certainly, time freedom is one of those benefits. What are some of the other benefits?
Yeah, so passive income, I think what you were alluding to, right, is passive income in multifamily, especially in syndication. People who passively invest can have the full benefit of being a real estate owner without the time or the steep learning curve needed to actually own real estate. So when you think about investing in like the stock market or investing in real estate fund, like a REIT, you actually just own like a paper commodity. So it actually, you don't actually own the hard asset. But passive real estate investing in a multifamily, you actually own a part of the apartment building itself. So with that, you can have the cash flow, you can have the sell profit upon sale, you can have the tax benefits of being a real estate owner. And actually, real estate ownership on this large multifamily scale is like tax benefit on steroids. Like you have a lot of different tax benefit that you don't get from investing in a smaller property. And all of that come without you spending the time needed to screen this building, analyze, manage any of that. So you get the benefit of owning real estate without dealing with tenants, trash, toilet, termite, none of those things. And what you were mentioning, Alan, like the whole point of this, right, is we all investing for that time freedom. It's not just about the money, but it's like, how can you get that passive income without taking a toll, without it taking a toll on your family life, on your own personal happiness. And I think this is where passive income really shine across, going out there and getting your own rental, is you can get all of that benefits while still having the time to, do whatever you love, whether that's spending time with your family, work on a hobby, travel. Is truly, truly amazing, the time freedom you can get from passive investing.
Yes, it truly, truly is. And thanks for outlining those
Mhm.
those amazing benefits that come from true passive investing as a limited partner rather than as an active partner.
Yep.
So why now is it really more than ever? Why is this the time to invest in multifamily syndications? There seems like so much uncertainty in the world and so much turmoil. So why is now a good time to invest in multifamily? A lot of people think it's just too risky at this point in time.
Yeah, I fully hear that. I have talked to a lot of investors recently, and I have heard that same sentiment echo across different investors. And this is kind of where my role comes in as not only an active investor, but also essentially an educator. Because essentially what my role is to guide people through this process. And my answer would be that I think any time is a good time to invest in real estate. We've heard this saying, right? The best time to invest in real estate is yesterday. The second best time is now. So now is always a good time to invest in real estate. So I think the question often that I would like to reframe is not, when should I invest in real estate? But the question should become, where should I invest? And in which asset class should I invest? And with whom should I invest with? So those would probably be the more key question that people should ask whenever they consider investing in real estate. It's always a good time, but you definitely, each market goes through different cycles. This is where people say real estate is hyper local. You will hear a lot of these noises in the news, right? You will see, okay, real estate is going up, real estate is going down, rent is going up, rent is going down, it's going to burst. No, it's not going to burst. There's a lot of noises out there. So it's very important to understand that real estate is hyper local. So it is very important to invest with people who have local knowledge of a market, because one market could be going up while the other market is crashing. So this is very important about where you choose to invest. The second piece is which asset to invest in. So we love multifamily because people always need a place to live. In a place currently right now, when there is a recession, when high interest rate is rising, a lot of people are considering multifamily renting because one is more affordable versus like renting a single family, or even consider, buying a house at this point. So in a difficult economic time, multifamily has been historically been considered recession resistant because of these characteristics. People always need a place to live. It is often in a challenging time, more people, it's more affordable to rent in a multifamily apartment building. And then I think overall, with the economy of scale in the large multifamily space, we can really cut down the cost on construction. Even though when you hear construction and labor, everything is rising, the cost, you have the economy of scale in multifamily. And so a lot of that makes multifamily a very great investment, in my opinion, to invest in, especially during this time. And then the third piece is with whom, right? This is when I mentioned that you want to invest with people who have the experience in that local market. They have been in multifamily for a while. They understand how to operate, not only to find the deal, but operate the deal efficiently. And essentially someone who can actually walk you through this process. A lot of people I talk to, right? I feel most of the people I talk to, they know the benefits of real estate. What I often hear that stop people from getting in is that, I don't have time. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Like there's so many things to learn. So those two are often what stop people from getting in. So a lot of what I do is educate investors for them to understand what is syndication, how they can get the benefit without spending time away from their family. So yeah, I think those three would be what I would love advise people to focus on instead of, is now a good time?
Well, as a syndicator, as you are, you're on the active side as well as you have done passive deals as well. And yet you have been able to come through this, leaving your W-2 job and going full-time into real estate.
Mhm.
And yet you have been able to develop a life by design. How have you been able to do that, Yang?
That is such a great question. I do think a life by design is never completely figured out, if I'm honest. I think we are all actively, right, designing what our life look like. I am super grateful that I have essentially a choice, right? And that's what we often advocate for, is not about, you have to quit your job. That's never what we advocate for. The only thing we often advocate for is that the choice, whether you want to work in a W-2, part-time, full-time, whether you want to completely just live on your passive income. I think what all we advocate for is a choice. And that what you mentioned, Alan, that life by design, I think a lot of people feel like they have to reach, a certain point to live a life by design, right? There is almost that conditional aspect where I have to have X amount of income, I have to be X, number of age in order to actually, live a life by design. And I would love for people to consider, what that life by design look like for them and how they can actually make that happen now. I think often when I talk to people, this like conditional life by design is often actually what hold people back from building passive income and really living a life that is fulfilling. So I would say life by design does not need to be you change everything 360 for you to live a life by design. You can start with small steps. What is something small right now that if it were to change, it would make a significant difference in your life for your life to feel more fulfilling? So I would start by just going by step and just kind of I think it's all in the little things, right? What are some small things we can do that we can live a life by design? And I am still actively figuring out. As I mentioned, I left my W-2, moved over to real estate full time so that I can spend more time with my family. And I'll be honest, it's certainly one of those things that I'm still figuring it out because, here I am doing active investing, helping a lot of investors passively invest in real estate. And I still have to make a choice of like, okay, do I go spend time with my family now or do I go talk to investors? I think it's consistently a moment by moment decision that like, hey, today is my family day. I'm not going to do any real estate today. And today I'm going to fully spend time with my family. So I am essentially just consistently making a choice of what do I want my life to look like and consistently evaluating things and see where I want to take this, to the next step.
Yeah, I really like that, Yang. The best laid plans that we have always
Right?
have a way of being muddled up. I don't know if you've ever watched that sitcom One Day at a Time, but anyway, in their theme song, they have One Day at a Time, we'll just muddle through. And,
Yeah.
and, that's life. We can only live it in the moment, no matter how many great plans we absolutely have. So,
Moment by moment.
yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, what do we look for? You mentioned that who we invest with is important.
Mhm.
So what is it that we are going to be looking for in the people that we invest with?
Yeah, that is a great question. So what I usually advise people to look for is that local knowledge. Do they know the local market where they're investing in and potentially bringing investors in to invest with them? Whether the team have experience in that market is always a great starting point. Two, I actually always look for kind of like a diversify pool of experience and knowledge. So in large multifamily, right? The value of the building is determined by the net operating income. So I like it in a sense because as an operator, you can have a lot of control over the expense, most of the expenses anyway. So you can figure out how you can creatively increase the income, how you can creatively decrease the expense, and the combination of both of these will increase the value of the building. Because of that, I actually always like general partner team that have a diversified real estate experience. If they have experience in Airbnb, in midterm rental, in different other asset class, a lot of these different real estate experience actually contribute to them effectively operating a building. So I think having a team with diversified experience is an important piece to look at. Third piece I always advise people is as passive investor is get educated. I always want my passive investors to be confident in their decision to invest. In order to do that, they do have to have some basic knowledge of, what does the deal look like? What does the structure look like? What should I look for in a deal? Why is this risk lower versus the other one? So a lot of these coming from education. And whenever I first talk to passive investors, I always ask them what their goals are and where they're at in their financial real estate journey. So I know how I can adjust and personalize the piece of education to actually fill in whatever, gaps they need. So I think those three pieces are very important. Now, in once you have those three pieces, then it's a matter of like, okay, this is a really long-term investment. You're looking at a 3 to 7 to 10 years period of time. Can you talk to the operators? Can you actually meet with them and talk to them and ask the question? Are they responsive? It is a really long-term investment, so you want to make sure that that you guys have similar communication style so that you guys can actually, communicate for this next 3 to 10 years. So a lot of those things are often what I first advise people thinking about passive investing. Just talk to the operators, see if there is a good fit there in terms of how they can answer your question. Do they answer your question? And then essentially just continue education so that they can actually be confident in what they invest in.
Good points, Yang. Enlightened investors, if you haven't done so already, be sure and click that like button and also click that share so others can take advantage of the content. And finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming episodes. What is the first step that one should take to start investing passively?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I would say for me in real estate, everything is relationship. It is a much smaller word than you think. Everything I think in real estate is relationship. So if someone is considered passive investing, I would suggest that they reach out to an active investor. So someone who is actively, syndicating or have opportunity for these multifamily space. Now, these reach out is pretty low commitment. These are not often one of those, you reach out and then you have to invest. It is, like I mentioned, the most important piece is relationship. So you're just reaching out, just express like, hey, I always ask people like, what is your goal, right? I always want to understand people past like financial goal. Do they want cash flow right now to replace their income? Or are they essentially just looking to build a nest egg for, 10 years from now? Are they just looking to build for their children's, college education, so to speak? So I always want to ask what people's goals are. So I would say the first step is for them to reach out to active investors and just share their financial goal. From there, they would understand like, okay, is passive investing a good fit for them at that time? And then they can essentially, the active investors, some of them often have like education things that they can send out where they can read more about this. Maybe there's a course they can take. So a lot of these help passive investor prepare so that whenever a deal or an opportunity is available, they can quickly invest along with the active investors. But first step, always build that relationship. Whether you're considering it, you're not sure if it's a good fit, you definitely want to invest, always build the relationship with the active investor first.
Well, excellent advice. So people always talk about the why, and you started out the show with actually talking about your why. Tell us why the why is important, and can you make it a little bit less esoteric and more concrete? What is the why, and why is it important?
Yeah, so my why was actually to support my parents in their retirement. So my parents are now in the US. They came over a few years ago, so I'm really excited to have them here and I get to see them more often. So my real estate generational wealth is not just for my, future kids and my future family. It's actually to help taking care of my parents at this time. So my generation wealth is, I guess, what I don't even know, multi-directional, is both for my parents and my future family. So I would say that is a big part of my why. I am also a salsa investor, salsa dancer. So I dance competitively. So a lot of my why is also having the time in order to train, to dance more, to, kind of have more time for that passion that I like to do. So yeah, I would say family and essentially generational wealth, whether that is for my parents or for my future family, and then also time for my dance hobby. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. That sounds like a life by design. So, Yang, tell us about what you have to offer and how it is we can take advantage of that.
Yeah, sure. So if you guys head over to my website, onerivercapital.com, and that is spelled out ONE. So onerivercapital.com. You can find more information about how you can invest with me to build your passive income so that you can also live a life by design. On my website, there is a free guide on understanding multifamily or passive investing returns. So it's a free guide. You can also, sign up, and then you also receive more news from me regarding, I always share about real estate, financial goals, anything you miss on social media, these podcasts. So yeah, that's how people can get to know me more and invest along with me. Our goal is always to help investors build passive income that meet their lifestyle. So I would love to connect with and help other people to build their passive income and reach their financial freedom so they can live a life by design.
Well, Yang, that is wonderful. Let's move into our last segment here and tell us the most difficult setback you've had to overcome in your life, and how did you come through that time, and what did you learn from that?
The most difficult setback, I'm going to say I have had challenges. I feel like I never really consider things as setback. I always consider life as moving forward, and anything that occur is just a part of the journey. So I never quite consider that it is a setback, but it's certainly a challenge. I can share with you one example of them. We closed on a 42 unit last September that was through a online foreclosure auction. So that was a great project where people, we were coming in with about 1.2 million in existing equity just right out the gate. So it was a great project for us to take down. Now, the road to actually be able to close on it was certainly not smooth. If people understand syndication, usually we close syndication within like 60 to 75 days. Because it was an online foreclosure auction, we had to close it within 35 days. So
Wow.
this is when I mentioned that relationship is so important because it was a great deal. But at that point, not a lot of people, unless you guys are already on my newsletter and on my investor list, then otherwise you won't hear about like very profitable deals like this. But what I was want to say is the on the road to closing it, our lender needed something else and they couldn't close on the deal. And we were 12 days to go with almost $600,000 in earnest money deposit that will be lost, that would have been lost if we didn't close the deal on time. So if anyone have done real estate, if they hear that like you had to change lender with 12 days to go, that is a nightmare. And so we close on time. And what I have learned through that process are two things. One, that relationships are so important. Like we were able to find a different lender to help us close on this property because we built that relationship prior and we kept the relationship even though we did not go with them on the first option. So this is when I mentioned that relationship is key in any real estate investment. You never know when you can help some other people. You never know when some other people can help you. So it's very important to start building the relationship and maintaining the relationship. The second piece that I learned through that process is with 12 days to go, a new different lender and potentially losing $600,000. If I had focused on what the potential consequence would be, it would completely paralyze me and I would not be able to move forward. So the thing that we practice, our team practice, and I consistently practice it throughout that process is just focusing on winning the next 15 minutes. So whenever lives get challenging, I focus on winning the next 15 minutes. And that might be a very simple action. Make a call, send somebody something that they need, or go talk to a lender, go talk to your brokers, go talk to an investor. These are the smaller things that you can do in 15 minutes. And if you focus on just winning 15 minutes at a time, you can win over anything. So those are the two key things that I learned through that experience.
Well, what are you most grateful for?
What am I most grateful for? I am tremendously grateful for my family's health. I am tremendously grateful that I get to spend time with them, and I get to, create new memories with them. So that's certainly what I'm most grateful for.
And what are 3 good things you've experienced in the last 24 hours?
3 good things I experienced in the last 24 hours. Actually, I just spent time with my family for it's kind of like a celebration, but essentially in memory of my grandmother. So I literally just came from a lunch with them. So that's certainly one of those good things. I have been taking a Pilates reformer class. I was feeling like I was in a funk, and I've never taken Pilates class on a reformer before. So when I found like I was in a funk, it feels like things was feeling a little funky. Taking something completely brand new when I am such a beginner and just figuring it out was so refreshing and just really humbling experience to go through. And so that really always put me on the right track after. So that was the second good things. The third one would be actually just came back from a meetup at a local meetup where I was a speaker. So it was very amazing experience chatting with other investors, whether they're new looking to get into multifamily or they're experienced and looking to scale. So that was a great experience getting to share my story and help other people along on this journey.
And how are you putting your success as an investor and entrepreneur to work to create universal well-being for all beings?
I love that question. Going along the line with life by design, that is also a question that I have been pondering a lot. How do I leave a legacy that helps support everyone and all, right, in the world. For me, I believe strongly in education. So I strongly believe that if people have the education they need, and if they have the support and the mentorship that they need, they could make a lot of things happen very quickly. So for me, I have been doing a lot of sharing what I have learned, whether that through social media or whether that through my newsletter, or even just in chatting with people, like in meetup, everything like that. I usually don't hold back. I don't think I ever think about like, oh, I gotta hold back on something. It's everything I learn, I share, because I don't own that knowledge, right? I got it from someone. The wonderful thing about real estate world is always, everyone has something to give and everyone has something to get. So I'm always so happy to share what I have learned to hope, in hope that it will help someone else. I am a dancer. And so I think maybe one of my asks as well would be, I really want to create a nonprofit to help kids to have performance lessons and performance opportunity, whether that is dance, instruments, whatever that looks like. I'm working on creating that nonprofit to help support kids have dance lesson and dance performance opportunity.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you've come to the end of your life and you lay on your deathbed. What do you look back on as your greatest joy and sense of fulfillment?
That would be that I spend time and create memories with my family. I think if I gone there and if I consider like I have spent time with my family, we've created memories together, we have traveled together, we have enjoyed the world, like all this wonderful thing that the world has to offer together, I would feel very fulfilled.
Wonderful. Well, Yang, what a pleasure to have had you today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and knowledge. And thank you so much for sharing your indelible and delightful spirit.
Thank you so much for having me, Alan. Thank you so much, everyone, for your generous listening. Looking forward to keeping in touch.
Enlightened investors, wait, don't go just yet. I just want to remind you about our recently launched webinar that you will not want to miss. If you're at all curious and would like to learn more about how real estate investing can diversify your investment portfolio, alleviate the anxiety associated with Wall Street swings, leverage your 401ks and IRAs to substantially increase the return on your investment, and do all of this with turnkey, hands-off, passive real estate investments, then you'll want to immediately go to stevetalker.com/webinar. In the webinar, we'll also address the common dubious investment schemes that you want to avoid. To access the webinar, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Investing Abundance, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, a company working for passionate professionals like you to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steve Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steve Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. For resources to develop your financial independence, connect with us at stevetalker.com.